As to the soul and the belief that it is immortal by nature, this is the crux of 3,000 years of Egyptian civilization. For Egypt was a one-issue civilization, and the immortality of the soul was that to which everything the Egyptians did was consecrated. That preoccupation with, almost obsession with, immortality is what is responsible for the tremendous temples, the tombs, the pyramids, and all of the attention that the Egyptians themselves lavished upon death, which was not seen by them as the end, but rather as the threshold to another level of transformation. That which leads, or which can lead, to the immortality of the soul.
Of the many arcana bequeathed to us by ancient Egypt, perhaps the most important is the least appreciated. It is the greatest secret of all, the book of what is in the duat. It is a map of what to do in the afterlife.
Of a lost art from a lost world. Behind the veil lies another Egypt, hidden Egypt.
The general understanding among academics is that, well, the Egyptians were afraid of death and therefore constructed this elaborate ruse to con themselves into believing that death was not the end. But just bear in mind the possibility that maybe it isn't. Maybe they knew what they were talking about. If it's looked at from a different point of view, then the whole elaborate exercise takes on the guise not so much of superstition, but as a very elaborated and highly sophisticated manual of instruction. It's a sort of how-to-do-it book on immortality.
Is it possible that they were able to cross the great abyss? Do these tombs represent a technology that allowed the deceased to successfully pass through the gates of the duat? Perhaps even, as they themselves declare, to rule in the afterlife? Where could such knowledge come from? Would it not necessitate the point of view of someone or something that was able to see both sides of the veil? Someone or something that was able to move between realms to share the knowledge of what lie beyond the great threshold of transformation? If we take them at their word, we are presented with a very rare privilege indeed. The pinnacle of a supernatural technology from a mysterious and ancient lost civilization, once reserved solely for the afterlife use of a god king. These sacred magical texts may in fact be a roadmap of the afterlife, a magical ladder to heaven. The precision and scale of the engineering, the mastery of art, the almost supernatural control over the material world demonstrated by the ancient megaliths and statues is often of a much higher order than we are able to exercise today. Is there any reason to believe that this same degree of technology might not be brought to bear on the primary focus of the Egyptians, the afterlife?
We're in the tomb of Thutmose III, an early New Kingdom pharaoh, and a very great pharaoh. It was Thutmose III who carved out the Egyptian empire in the Middle East and is often known as the Napoleon of Egypt, which is a bit of an insult to Thutmose III because Napoleon is not necessarily a nice guy. Anyway, in this tomb we find one of just two complete representations of the book of what is in the Duat. The book of the Duat might be seen as a manual of instruction, a spiritual guide, the traveler's key to enlightenment, you might say. And it provides the information to the deceased pharaoh as to the precise stages that have to be undergone, the precise thresholds that have to be crossed in order to proceed from death itself, which is a threshold in its own right, to rebirth as a divine being, as a new son, as a new Horus.
The Book of What is in the Duat details the pharaoh's journey through the Duat or afterlife. It is a handbook of spells and secrets that allow passage through the labyrinthine gates and thresholds of transformation encountered by the deceased.
Insofar as is possible, we can at least go through the hours and follow the action. So it starts over here with the scarab in a boat that's perched on the symbol that means water, preceded by 3 water snakes that actually represent larval forms, or you might say the first organic living form which cleaves the waters and divides one into 2.
In the first hour, the deceased may expect to be preoccupied with separation. The snakes are associated with separation or division. Seen in this context, they may represent the forces of dissolution or disintegration that become active in the first hour of the duat. The elemental forces which affect the unbinding